Welcome everyone, this is the CSN podcast with Eddie Martinez. This week, as always, I will be discussing the most notable headlines, taking a look at the upsets, and the not so upsetting results of the football world. And of course, making the weekly picks, gutsy calls, and upset specials. And it all starts right now. Thanks again to everybody joining us today. I am your host, Eddie Martinez, and we round up another great, exciting week of NFL football. We just finished up week 3 and headed to week 4. Here are some of the results so far. We take a look back last Thursday with the New York Giants taking on the Washington Redskins and beating them handily 32-21 in a great result. Some of the other scores around the league: Falcons defeating the Dallas Cowboys 39-28, Indianapolis Colts beating the Tennessee Titans in a miracle comeback 35-33. The Raiders are actually showing positives this past week as they beat the Browns 27-20 in a pretty exciting game. The Bengals go ahead and hand the Ravens their third consecutive loss with a final score of 28-24. The Jaguars losing handily to the Patriots in a not so unexpected result as a final score reads 51-17 in favor of the defending Super Bowl champions. The Saints fortunately lost at home to the Carolina Panthers. 27-22 was the final score on that one. The Eagles finally went ahead and got in the win column as now they did defeat the Jets 24-17. Bucks lost to the Texans 9-19. The Chargers went ahead and lost to the Vikings with a final of 31-14. Steelers, even with Big Ben going down, were able to win 12-6. The Cardinals went ahead and took care of business at home against the 49ers, 47-7 the final on that one. The Bills also joining the great scoring with a final of 41-14 over the division rival Dolphins. The Seahawks went ahead and gave the Bears a 26-0 the final score. And the final one on Sunday night was the Broncos taking on the Detroit Lions 24-12 was the final, and that one in favor of Denver. And finally, the Monday night game 38-28 the final in favor of Green Bay over Kansas City. Some of those were surprising, others not so very surprising. I did have the Giants that week beating the Redskins. Dallas Cowboys, with all their injuries, not a surprise that they went ahead and lost. The Colts, I'm actually surprised were able to come back against Marcus Mariota and looking very, very good and making a case for Rookie of the Year already. The Raiders are actually starting off to a good start, 2-1 so far in the year, and went ahead and beat the Browns there. That was actually pretty impressive. Amari Cooper looks like a beast. Did you have the Cincinnati Bengals looking like the Cincinnati Bengals? Unfortunately, the Ravens are not looking like the Ravens of old. Who knows? Maybe Darrell Suggs being out and the mystique of their defense might actually be gone for a little bit. But who knows? They might be able to recover this week as they face the Steelers. The Patriots still looking mighty, mighty darn good as they have this whole season so far on a mission to erase Deflategate from the minds of the people. Saints, unfortunately, with all their woes still continuing against the division rival Carolina Panthers, the Eagles finally got themselves into sync, although they did look a little bit out of sync, but it was against the Jets, even though Ryan Fitzpatrick is not what we would consider an elite quarterback. Tampa Bay, fortunately, Jameis Winston can only do so much, and the Houston Texans, well, they do look pretty darn good on defense, and their offense is actually surprisingly producing enough to be able to win some games, and luckily J.J. Watt doesn't have to do everything by himself. We do have San Diego, unfortunately, falling again, and to the up and start upcoming Vikings again. Vikings are actually looking to have a pretty good season so far. The Steelers, unfortunately, with Big Ben going down for a couple of weeks, first it was said it was going to be 4 to 6 weeks, but the exact timetable is still unknown. They did went ahead and take care of business against the Rams, but it's It's a little surprising, at least to me, that that the Rams didn't take care of business, but it was in Pittsburgh. It was in St. Louis, so who knows? Maybe that crowd didn't help too much. Uh, the Arizona Cardinals are actually looking pretty mighty good. As some of you may recall, they were my preseason pick to go ahead and go to the Super Bowl, even though some people still question the fact that they have elite talent on defense. I still say, as long as I have Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger, and Patrick Peterson in that secondary, you will be fine. But the offense is what is extremely surprising this far. All three running backs with Andre Ellington, whenever he was healthy, Chris Johnson, and the up-and-coming rookie, the other Johnson, are actually producing mighty good for the Cardinals offense. And then Larry Fitzgerald, enjoying a revival season so far, is having a tremendous production for some of you fantasy players out there. You know what I'm talking about. The Bills actually went ahead and scored 41 of the Dolphins. That was actually not so surprising. Tyrod Taylor is looking mighty good. That Buffalo Bills offense is looking pretty darn good, even under the leadership of Rex Ryan. The Dolphins still looking at a sink. I think they did spend too much money, but not enough on offense, and unfortunately it's costing them now. Seattle, finally, with Cam Chancellor back, did make a statement win against the Bears. I think Seattle from this point on should be picking up their business and should be getting hopefully back into the conversation for the division title, and who knows, maybe even one of the top seeds. As we head into their Sunday Night Football, the Broncos went ahead and, again, taking care of business against Detroit. Detroit, for some reason, is looking out of sync. I don't know if it's Matt Stafford or perhaps the loss of Ndamukong Suh on defense that's costing him a little bit. I personally believe it's the running game of Abdullah that's actually helping out a lot, even though he doesn't get too much credit there. The Denver Broncos, I'm actually surprised they didn't score more. The way they should be handling business, I think they should be scoring at least, about 35, so about maybe 2 more touchdowns there. Kansas City actually did stay in the game pretty well against Green Bay. Of course, Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers, as Stephen A. Smith says, he's a bad man. And indeed, he is a bad man. And so far, he's been looking like the bad man as he's caught up already to 10 touchdowns, no interceptions in the year so far. Already making a case for himself for MVP once again. I'd still keep an eye out for Tom Brady, though, as this conversation starts to heat up a little bit. This week has been the topic of who actually is the top quarterback in the NFL so far. Some people are still making a case for Aaron Rodgers. I myself stand with the old guard in saying that the main guy should still remain Tom Brady. I think personally he's had a much better season. Not statistically, I think just overall he's looked a lot better and doesn't have to rely with too many weapons, even though he does have Gronkowski and Edelman and surprise Dion Lewis actually coming out of nowhere after not playing football for, I believe, the last 2 years. So he's looked pretty damn good too. So who knows? We might actually have another 16-0 run for the Patriots. That's one of the topics that's being discussed right now, is if he will actually go the whole distance. Well, so far, not too many surprises. I do think that the Ravens actually being 0-3 is a surprise, at least to me. I don't think that they're going to remain that way for long, at least hopefully not. Because if they do lose this week, I think that would be the end of the Ravens' run at the playoffs so far. That would make too much sense for them. I think it'd be a little bit more difficult for them to get into the playoffs if they were 0-4 at this point. I guess we will see this week as they take on Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh facing their own same woes as Big Ben has gone down again 4 to 6 weeks, although some people are saying he might be out for a longer time. We still need to see how that's going to work out, but hopefully Baltimore can take care of business tonight with a weekend Pittsburgh offense. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the standings so far. We're going to begin with the AFC. As the AFC East, of course, we have the New England Patriots 3-0, the Buffalo Bills and the New York Jets 2-1, tied for second place there. And down there is 1-2, the Miami Dolphins, currently 2.5 games behind the Patriots right there. They need to start getting up there in the win column a little bit more. Hopefully this week they can go ahead and get to 500. And as the Patriots are headed to a bye week, we need to see how they're going to fare there with the rest of the division results. The AFC North, we take a look at Cincinnati 3-0 as well. Pittsburgh right behind them with 2-1. Cleveland 1-2, and Baltimore at the bottom of 0-3. Again, Ravens need to get their things taken care of, and hopefully this week they'll go ahead and get on the win column themselves. In the AFC South, actually all the teams are currently 1-2. The only thing that are, I guess, differentiating them is the points in favor and against. Indianapolis is in first place. After that's Tennessee, Houston, and Jacksonville. But again, they're all 1-2, so no really much of a difference there. As we head to the AFC West, Denver Broncos 3-0. The Oakland Raiders 2-1. Yes, you did hear that right. The Oakland Raiders are 2-1 and look pretty good, and looks like they might actually be. There's already some conversation for the Oakland Raiders to be competing for a divisional crown and possibly even a wild card spot heading into the playoffs. Some people don't believe it. Who knows? We'll go ahead and see once the season starts developing a little bit more. Kansas City's currently sitting at 1-2. San Diego as well, 1-2, right there with them, bottom of the AFC West. As we head to the NFC, take a look at the NFC East. Dallas Cowboys currently 2-1, as the rest of the division is 1-2 with the New York Giants, the Redskins, and the Eagles. Dallas still has a little bit of an edge over those teams, but they do need to go ahead and start winning, hopefully with Brandon Wheaton and some of the replacement players that I've already taken care of, as they're taking care of Des Bryant and Tony Romo over the next couple of weeks. We need to see if this Dallas Cowboys team is going to be able to remain as a contender without their stars. And hopefully once some of their stars on defense do come back, maybe they can come and hold their own and prove to everybody that they don't necessarily depend too much on Tony Romo and Des Bryant for them to dictate their season. We head to the NFC North, as is usual. It's Green Bay leading the bunch with 3-0. The Minnesota Vikings right behind them, 2-1. The rest of the division reads at 0-3 between Detroit and Chicago. Again, Chicago facing a lot of its woes. Fortunately, their offense looks out of sync. Jay Cutler, fortunately being Jay Cutler, we don't know what the future is going to hold for the Bears, as a lot of their receivers are injured, and some of them are still recovering, and so we wish them the best of luck, and hopefully they'll go ahead and get on the win column soon and make it again a more competitive division between all four teams. Same goes for Detroit. Detroit looks out of sync. They have not been able to get the necessary wins or close out the games in order to get the necessary wins, but hopefully this week they'll go ahead and get their business straight. Head to the NFC South. Right now it's a division tie between the Carolina Panthers and the Atlanta Falcons for 3-0. Tampa Bay is currently sitting at 1-2, and New Orleans at 0-3. The NFC West currently reads with the Arizona Cardinals at 3-0. St. Louis is 1-2. San Francisco is 1-2, and the same goes for Seattle. Seattle finally getting on the win column as they get Cam Chancellor back. Some people have been saying he's the boom in the Legion of Boom, and apparently rightfully so, as they went ahead and take care of business against the Bears, even though the Bears have their share of struggles. But again, the Arizona Cardinals, they look like a legit contender. Who knows? We'll go ahead and have to see if they can actually go all the way down as they began last season in the same fashion. But unfortunately, we're not able to close it out as Carson Palmer went ahead and got injured during the season. So hopefully Carson Palmer and the rest of the players can stay healthy. I'd like to see this Arizona Cardinals team not only go to the playoffs, be able to lock up a division title and hopefully be one of the top seeds in the NFC. It would certainly be interesting to see that, and we'll go ahead and see how this Arizona Cardinals offense and defense fare as we go deeper into their schedule and deeper into the season. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and head to Week 4. And first game off is there on Thursday between the Baltimore Ravens at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Certainly going to be an interesting divisional game, as this game usually brings a lot of excitement and a lot of intrigue, and definitely dictates a lot of the divisional destinies that will go down further into the season. Personally, I do believe that Pittsburgh does look better, but unfortunately with Big Ben going down, we do not know exactly what we will be getting with this Pittsburgh offense. The defense, unfortunately, has looked out of sync, but they've been able to hold their own enough. Baltimore looks like they've been able to score points. It just simply haven't been able to close games. I think this week it would be most crucial. They need to win. I think this is a must-win game for the Ravens, and I think due to that desperation, I think that's why they will go ahead and take care of business, even at Heinz Field in Pittsburgh. So I'll go ahead and take the Ravens for that one. Heading down to Sunday, October 4th. First of all, it's already October, or it's going to be October this week. Sunday, start out with the Jets at the Dolphins. Personally, I believe the Dolphins are not looking too good. Even with Ndamukong Suh, looks like he's not going 100% in every play. I think that it needs to be taken care of. But this Jets defense with Todd Bowles as head coach looks incredible. And I think that they will be legitimate contenders, not only in their division, but possibly for a wild card spot. Personally, I think Ryan Fitzpatrick is enough of a quarterback to be able to do a decent job so far in the season to get them to where they are. Brandon Marshall has been looking great. That offense has been looking actually pretty steady. They're not what I would call an excellent offense, but they are doing enough to be able to get themselves where they want to be. And so I think the Jets actually look much more better, and coming off that loss against Philly, I think that'll motivate them to get that and get another win in the column. So go ahead and give me the Jets over the Dolphins. Next, we got the Jaguars at the Colts. The Colts finally being able to get into the win column after beating Tennessee. I think the Jaguars are looking out of sync, and even though they tried their best against the New England team that honestly is on fire so far in the season, I think that this Indianapolis offense is finally starting to get into sync. They're finally starting to get their own, and hopefully all those Miami players can start actually making a difference. Please, those Hurricane players, I don't know if you're listening, please, we need the U back. So go ahead and give me the Colts this week against the Jaguars. Go ahead and give me that modern NFL U, if you will, with Andre Johnson, Frank Gore, and Philip Dorsett. Next game is going to be the New York Giants and the Buffalo Bills, as we will be having, I guess what you would call an intra-New York matchup. The Giants are starting to look like division contenders. I think personally they look the best out of all four teams in the NFC East. The Cowboys, with all their injuries and current suspensions serving. Redskins are the Redskins, unfortunately. The Eagles are kind of starting to get their own, but they still don't look too good. And the Giants, I guess, look like the lesser of all four evils. So the Bills are actually incredibly surprising, as even with all the Rex Ryan talk, they look amazing on defense and on offense, with Tyrod Taylor taking over for the quarterback job. Sammy Watkins still there. A lot of great players there in Buffalo, and that's why I think Buffalo will be able to take care of business this week at home. So go ahead and give me Buffalo at home this week. Next, we head to Tampa Bay, as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to be taking against the Carolina Panthers. This game, I don't have too much to say about it. All I can simply say is go ahead and give me the Carolina Panthers. Cam Newton's looking pretty good. Go ahead and give me that Carolina Panthers. Next game on their divisional matchup between the Eagles visiting the Washington Redskins. Both teams honestly don't look their best this so far in the season. I think Philly, even with their win, are not what I would call an elite team, even though they do have the talent to be competing with the best of the NFL. I think just on that fact base alone, I think I can go ahead and make the choice and go ahead and pick Philly for this week, and go ahead and get them another win into that column, and hopefully start getting to the race with the Cowboys for that division. Next game, the Raiders at the Bears. Again, the Raiders are looking amazingly good. Derek Carr is actually looking amazingly well for a second or third year player, even as some people are calling him the best of his class, even better than Johnny Manziel. I don't know too much about that, but I know that Carr was expected to be here, and so here he is with Amari Cooper, and Latavius Murray actually is looking mighty, mighty good for a running back, and I think that that's a very, very good tandem of all three players being able to produce for this Oakland Raider team. The Bears, with Jay Cutler going down for a couple weeks, unfortunately that's the catalyst to their offense, even though he's not too much of one. I still think that that's more than enough for the Raiders to take care of business against Chicago, so go ahead and give me the Raiders on the road against Chicago. Next game up, the Texans taking on the Falcons. Not too much to say about that game. I think that Julio Jones and Matt Ryan connection is finally starting to work, and so I'll go ahead and take the Falcons at home this week. The Chiefs going to Cincinnati. Interesting game. The Chiefs actually look pretty good. I think they're going to be contending for a wild card spot later on in the season. Right now, Cincinnati undefeated at home. I think that's more than enough for them to be able to continue that. And so go ahead and give me Cincinnati right now over Kansas City. Next game up on the tab, the Browns going to San Diego to take on the Chargers. Not too much again to say about this game either. Personally, I believe that this is a game between two teams that are unfortunately not looking too good so far in the year, but I think the fact that San Diego is at home will give them somewhat of an advantage, so I think I'm going to go ahead and take San Diego there. An exciting game, what would have been considered 2 years ago, had not all those 49er players retired this past offseason. They're going ahead and taking Green Bay. Green Bay going on the road to San Francisco. Green Bay is looking incredible. Aaron Rodgers is looking like a bad man. And so that personally sounds enough to be able to take on the 49ers. Again, the 49ers looking out of sync. Too many losses on defense, and unfortunately it hasn't had enough time to be able to round everything up and keep it in an appropriate place. So go ahead and give me Green Bay on the road in one of those afternoon games. And so they go take care of business in San Francisco. Next game up is going to be the Arizona Cardinals taking on the visiting St. Louis Rams. The Cardinals, again, looking like contenders. My preseason pick to go ahead and represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. St. Louis has a mighty good defense, but unfortunately some people are mentioning that Nick Foles doesn't look too good in the pocket. I think it's the fact that he's new to this offense, new to this system. It's a little bit different than Chip Kelly, what he runs in Philly. So I go ahead and think that it's going to take him a couple of weeks more for him to completely get synced up with that offense and that system. So go ahead and give me the Arizona Cardinals this week. I think they'll go ahead and score plenty of points in there. And should be an exciting game, though. It's going to be on Fox, so be sure to take care of that and watch that game. Next game up on there is going to be the Minnesota Vikings going to Denver, Mile High Stadium. Vikings are looking pretty good this season so far, 2-1. The Broncos are 3-0. The Denver Broncos defense is to talk to some people. I think the fact that Peyton Manning's still there, that's Peyton Manning's team. Gary Kubiak is an incredible coach so far there. I think he's doing a pretty good job, but of course the offense has been running through Peyton Manning's hands as usual. Some people are apparently making a big deal about that. I don't know about that. All I can simply say is that this game, just looking at it from the eye candy test, I'm going to go ahead and take Denver at home, no question. And on Sunday Night Football, before all the injuries and departures happened, we're going to have a battle between the Dallas Cowboys and the New Orleans Saints. If I didn't know any better, I'd say this game looks like a preseason matchup between these teams, as both starting quarterbacks are down right now with Drew Brees and the rotator cuff in his throwing arm giving him some issues. Should be out for a couple of weeks. McCown is ready to step in. He did step in last week and didn't look too bad. And, of course, we have Brandon Wheaton stepping in for the Cowboys. Did enough of a job last week to kind of keep them in contention. But, of course, there's only so much a guy can do. Personally, I think this game is going to come down to the players that are going to step up. I just simply believe that Dallas has a lot more firepower, and the fact that they have the best offensive line in football will certainly give them an advantage over these New Orleans Saints that are unfortunately looking out of sync and looking very are looking to struggle a lot. They're struggling, and so we don't know how long it will take them to get themselves back into sorts. But go ahead and give me Dallas on the road on Sunday Night Football. And last but not least, I'm going to go ahead and take the Monday night game, Detroit heading to Seattle, and being the Seattle Seahawks. This game honestly is not too much of a question, as again Detroit's not looking too good right now. Seattle with Cam Chancellor coming back, they've had a little bit of a longer week than everybody else to be able to get themselves together, get everything in the game plan taken care of, and hopefully they'll be able to execute. It's Seattle at home, the 12-man, one of the noisiest stadiums in the world, certainly one in the league. Again, not too much of a question. I'm going to go ahead and take Seattle at home. For this week, I guess my upset would certainly be I don't know. I don't know which one would be my upset because unfortunately these games are mostly favored by the teams that actually look better. I don't think I've gone with any of the teams that have gone with an upset. So I guess the upset special will have to recurring to next week, roll over to next week. I guess I'll go ahead and make the upset special. But so far, I think I'm rolling with everybody that is favored to win this week. Well, those are my picks for this week. As we know, some of the teams are still on a bye week. For sure, it's going to be the Patriots and the Titans that are taking a break this week. And so we'll see them coming back in Week 5. But again, those were my picks. Go ahead and comment below. Let me know what you think and see this week who is going to be getting the wins and the losses. And we'll see if any incredible performances come out. First off, the game again, Thursday. It's going to be the Baltimore Ravens taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Good luck to both teams. Again, I'm rolling with the Ravens. The fact that they must win this week will determine the rest of the course of their season. This has been the CSN podcast with your host, Eddie Martinez. Thank you very much for joining us, and hope you guys have a great week. Thank you.